Guys, I am just gonna go around. We're just gonna do a wonderful Q&A because you're like me, you got a million questions for this guy. So I am just going to come out here. If you have a question, you raise your hand. I'll bring the mic to you, and you know how it goes. So let's go with it. Yes,
do you remember any of the songs of your Happy Hand song? And if you do, can you do it?
I remember like. Wait, what's that? No, wait.
I'm just making stuff up. I decided to make it a little more sensual this time.
that was beautiful, man. All right, another question. Yes, ready.
What's the celebrity you had the most fun to work with on set?
I've lucked out. I've been very lucky and worked with pretty much all awesome people. Very nice, very giving. You know, you hear about like prima donnas and divas, people who are hard to work with, and I hear stories. I've heard pray tell that there are people out there like that. But I have been very lucky in most of my projects to work with golden people. But some of my favorites, I love Nick Swartzen, who was with me in both Blades of Glory and Benchwarmers. He was awesome. He plays Howie in Benchwarmers. I loved Will Ferrell. He was awesome. Pedro was great. John Grice, who plays Uncle Rico, was incredible. He's like the nicest guy. Not at all like this character. Although he is a bit of he is like Uncle Rico, that he almost is one step away from living in a van, where he's a traveler. He doesn't fly planes at all. Like, he does not like to fly. So if you want it for a movie, you have to wait for him to drive cross country to get to it. A lot of great people I've worked with. Love them.
Wonderful. Other questions. Let's go back here. Yes, exactly.
Is this your first Comic-Con?
Is this my first Comic-Con? It is in Rhode Island. But no, I've done a couple others. I started doing this a couple of years ago, and it's like, okay, these are pretty cool. There's some interesting folk out there. But it's awesome. I love doing it.
Other questions? Who we got here? Go up in front here. Oh, jump over here. Yes.
Hi. I have two questions. One is, what is your favorite experience from Napoleon Dynamite?
My favorite experience from Napoleon Dynamite. The whole movie itself was quite an experience. It was my first film. I loved doing it. It was kind of an adventure. I wasn't doing it with the thought, all right, I got to further my career. I had no career. It was my first film, and I just did it because, you don't say no to doing something like that. Oh, sweet, that's for me, I think.
Dance!
That wasn't the song.
Okay.
But favorite experience of Napoleon, I don't know if there was a single. I loved shooting literally every sequence. My least favorite, everything was awesome. My least favorite was running in that brown wool suit out in the middle of nowhere where I'm just sweating bullets. That was a little bit uncomfortable. So was the chicken farm. That was not, doing it, I was like, this is great. This is gonna look great. These freaking chickens smell like crud. Like a weird, otherworldly crud. Bird, you guys have been in aviary places at zoos. Bird poop is the weirdest. That was my least favorite. But my favorite, I loved doing everything shooting anything in the school was really kind of cool. Because it's just, I'm a very nostalgic guy. I love revisiting all my old stomping grounds whenever I go back home, and going and shooting in a high school was just fun. It felt like being a kid again.
I was just wondering, I know it's a unique question, but do you have any props from any of your films that you kept, like glasses from Napoleon Dynamite, shirt, that out. They're pretty kinky styles.
Kinky, you said?
Kicking.
Oh, kicking.
I mean, kinky. No,
It's almost the same syllable, I mean, words and letters, you just have to swap around. Kicking, kinky. No, I kept a few of these, you know, like, do you remember the Pegasus crossing sign in his bedroom? That's in my daughter's bedroom. There was the wolf, and there's the unicorn poster and the wolf poster. Pretty much anything hanging in his room, I got to keep some of that stuff. All the really cool stuff, I was really bummed I wanted that time machine. I don't have that. And you'd think it'd be awesome to have those moon boots, which I have, which smell so bad. They were like destroyed by the end. It's like, I'm not gonna go wear this for fun. This is disgusting. But what else do I have? I had, yeah, I think I had the glasses. I'm not sure. But those might have got switched up. But I have some of the clothes, yeah. I didn't get the brown suit, but I got the hammer pants with the pocket. That was pretty cool.
They're still
With the tater tot pocket. Built for tater tots.
And my other question is, do you still talk to your co-star, Pedro? At all?
Pedro, Efrain Ramirez. Yeah, no, I talk to him every now and then. You know, he'll send me texts during the holidays, and I'll promptly ignore them. And then I'll get back to him like 3 weeks later. It's like, dude, so sorry for missing your text. You're the best. You're awesome. You guys have gotten us before. Yeah, no, Efrain's great. I see him every now and then. He's kind of one of those guys who just pops up all over Hollywood. Like, oh, and he's got a twin brother too, an identical twin brother. And I have an identical twin brother, so that's a little trivia a lot of people know.
I have a question. How do we know you're not the twin brother?
Well, anyways. We just switched behind the curtains. You didn't see it.
Other question, yes.
Super quick.
Hi, also identical twin. Jared Hess.
Wait, you're an identical twin too?
Yes, I am.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot here.
Yeah. Jared Hess is one of the most unique and creative directors I've ever seen in film. What is it like working, or was it like working for him?
Oh, it was great. I mean, Jared, you know, being on his first film, and I knew him in school, so we went to, I mean, that's kind of how this all came about. A lot of people ask, like, how was the audition process? There really wasn't an audition. We were both at film school in the same class, and we kind of knew each other enough, but we weren't super chummy. But I had acted very, you know, maybe in one student project right before that, just a little blip, and he, I think it was just more how I acted around friends and in class and just acting goofy. He goes, "Hey John, I think, you know, this would be good for you." And I remember thinking, oh, dude, this guy is talented. He's funny. He's got a very unique sense of humor. He's got a handle on his characters. And he's very much about like grabbing what's real and what's raw. So I knew this guy had promise. And so when he came to me, I was like, oh yeah, no, let's check this out. And I read the script, and this is for the short film that was shot back in 2001 called Peluca. And that's the same character. And so we did that. And then it was 2 years later that he was like, all right, I think we're going to shoot a feature of this. I was like, yeah, I'm on board. But so it was very easy because there wasn't a lot of workshopping involved. He gave me a script, I read it, I was like, yeah, I know exactly who this guy is. I mean, all he had was just some little bit of dialogue, but together we went to a thrift store. That's where the character really, I think, got fleshed out, was when we were looking for his clothes. We were like, oh yeah, sweet, this is a dragon t-shirt, you'd wear that. And then when we got on the moon boots, and Jared's wife suggested getting a perm, so in answer to your question about the kinky curls, I paused for a second because I was a single college student. I was like, a perm. Like, that's permanent, right? That's short for permanent. And I honestly, for a split second, thought, ooh, that's gonna look really ugly, and like, girls are gonna think I'm butt Uggs, and it's already so hard to get girls. But that was all, that whole conversation was like half a second in my mind. I was like, wait, what am I thinking? Yes, of course. This would be sweet. Like, I was so excited to bring this character to life. I was like, we have to do it. This is our American duty to bring this guy to the screen, even if it's only, screened at family reunions and never seen for the world. I think I answered your question. Okay. I started to derail a little bit.
Yes!
I asked you this earlier today. Have there ever been talks of a sequel to that poem?
You said you asked me that already? Did I not answer it sufficiently?
I was not satisfied.
Good answer. He wants everybody to hear the lame excuse I have. No, there was talks in the very, very beginning. But I guess when I say talks, it was like, there was never like we sat down as a group and all talked about it. It was like I think the Fox Studio kind of went through my agents saying, hey, if they ever did, would you do this and that? I was like, well, hey, as long as Jared is involved, he created this world, he created these characters, it wouldn't be right to do without. So, I'll just kind of like go with that lead. And Jared got busy and everybody else got busy. And we just never really thought about it when we were making the movie. Like, we weren't thinking, oh, is this franchise? I mean, we had no idea what was going to happen. So it's kind of one of those things. If we never do, I'll be happy because we're keeping the integrity of the film. But if we do make it and everybody's involved, I'll be happy because it was so fun to do the first time, and it'll get all of you guys off my back because I'm so sick of it would be awesome to make one. But yeah, there's no making of it right now. Who knows?
All right, other question.
I told someone today, give it, let's see, we're 12 years in, so maybe 8 more years. If it's not made for the 20-year anniversary, if it's not done by then, give up hope. I mean, they did that with Dumb and Dumber, right? So, right? They did that 20 years later. I guess it worked. It made like 500,000 in the theater. It sounds like a lot, but it's not, children. It's not.
Yes, Captain.
Okay, something I've been trying to figure out. When exactly does Napoleon Dynamite take place? There's a lot of real 80s feel to it. And actually, the second question, do you have a dance background? Because you had some pretty rad moves. Because it seems like everybody in Hollywood just knows how to dance. As I can, for crap.
No, you actually have it in you. You just need to release the phoenix. Release the Liger. I'm sorry, that was a better one. What was the first part of the question? What?
What year did?
Oh, what year? Yes, sorry. Okay, so yeah, it was modern day. It was 2003 when we shot it. So yeah, we get that question, and I was like, well, the point was we wanted it to be modern like it's now, but if you go to a small town, and for those who have ever spent time or have family or grew up in a really small town, it's like it's its own time capsule. Time kind of stops. It's a mixture of different periods and different eras because it's not completely up to date. And nowadays it's a little bit hard because with the internet and with everything, it's easier to keep a little bit more up to date with YouTube and Twitter and all that stuff. But in 2003, the internet was still, was definitely around, but it was still it's a small town, and not everybody's up to date on fashion and styles and what's cool and what's then, the local trend and stuff like that. So, yeah, we have the amenities of the 2000s, but people are happy, still riding buses to school and using phones. Nobody had cell phones, and so it's supposed to kind of capture that feel. And then, yes, dancing. No, not everybody in Hollywood is good at dancing. Only me. I'm not from Hollywood. I grew up just watching Michael Jackson videos and stuff like that. It was, no dancing background, just dancing by myself in the dark, alone. Just having fun that way. I love, That's great.
Let's give that hand up forever, so I'm gonna let you get in here. Go ahead.
In the
Hey,
bedroom.
wait. Evan? Is that your name?
No, forever.
Oh, forever. Oh, so stand up real fast. Let people see your outfit. Yeah. Look at him. He's waiting for LaFonda. Has she come yet? Is this like a symbol of your dying lust for? I'm just waiting for my LaFonda. So I hope that helps you score something big. Maybe not as tall as LaFonda, but you know what.
In the Benchwarmers, is that a lot of acting, or are you actually just that bad at baseball?
Guys, hold on.
Bullshit!
I'm sorry, that is the biggest compliment I've ever gotten. You guys, I rule at baseball. I kick butt at baseball. That was pure acting. Thank you for bringing that up. I really felt that way, you know, actually when we were doing it, because it's like, yeah, we're supposed to suck, and we're not supposed to be very good. And it was fun. I love physical comedy and like really getting into that kind of stuff. But like towards the end of this, you know, film, where we actually get to hit some balls, I was like, thank you. You guys, you know, check it out, watch it, and I would nail every single one. I was pretty proud of myself. That was the least I could do.
Yeah, Deadpool over here.
Hey, John, well, repeat Deadpool. Hello, Kitty baby.
Hello, Kenny.
First, thanks for coming out. Second, what was your favorite movie to work on and your least favorite movie to work on?
Ooh, I love working on pretty much almost all of my films. I loved working on Napoleon. I mean, that really was it was fun, but it was just so special knowing that we were kind of part of something that, and again, at the time we didn't know it would, you know, bring me here and bring us anywhere, but we, just for ourselves, we're like, this is awesome, and we're having fun doing it, and fun just, not just offset, goofing around, but having fun knowing that we're making something really cool. I loved doing Benchwarmers. That was a ton of fun. That was like just kind of laid back, and it was a big production, but we didn't have to really do anything. We just had to suck at everything. So we didn't have to train. We didn't have to like, just like in between shots, we'd be off playing hacky sack with each other, and goofing off in great weather. I just shot, last year I shot a movie in New York called Ghost Team. It's a little plug for my movie that's out now on iTunes. Called Ghost Team. It was the first kind of horror film I've done, but it's a comedy, and I had the time of my life making that one, because it was more, again, doing independent films is a lot of fun, because you have freedom from, you're not really listening to any big wigs, they're not controlling you, and because you're forced to be kind of be in more tight quarters with each other, because you're on tighter schedules, tighter budget, and so you're kind of forced to bond a little bit closer with the actors and the crew, and it becomes more like a family. So I've really enjoyed all the independent films I've worked on, and the studio films. I don't know if I mean, it's hard to say least favorite. I mean, I like them all, so it wouldn't really be, I don't know, what, I don't know. I can't think of it. There's yeah. I'll think of it. I'm sure there's something back there.
Well, you're thinking of that one. I saw Wonder Woman with her hand up. Where'd she go?
Come on! Hi, Jen. I'm a big fan. Anyway, big fan. Yours too.
Ah,
I read that somewhere that you're doing a lot of voiceover work, and can you tell me about that? And what is your favorite voice?
yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot more voiceover work the past couple of years, and it's so much fun. I like, well, right now, you can catch another plug. This is great. Pickle Peanut, if you haven't heard of it, Disney XD channel. It's awesome. It's about the misadventures of a pickle and a peanut. I play pickle. It sounds stupid, and you watch it, and it is stupid, but it's genius stupid. It's that kind of thing. it's been a while since I've had a project I'm actually just proud of. I love it. I watch it with my family. We have the time of our life. So that's a blast to make. But yeah, I mean, I do, I've done a number of things for Disney and for Netflix and for DreamWorks. I got to be on Core. You got any Core fans? Or yeah, that was like kind of a dream come true. I mean, it was a small role, but I was like, sweet. I just want to hang out with the cast while they record. It's been great. I mean, voiceover is awesome because it's a different game, but at the same time, it's still, you know, you're the actor and you're coming in and you're bringing a character to life, but you get to like, I mean, this is my fancy version of what I wear to work. I get to go in like, you know, like a big old scoop shirt and sweats, and you kind of fall into it, and you can really kind of let yourself go because you're not thinking about, okay, I gotta nail this, I gotta look just right, I don't have to worry about hair and makeup and everything. You don't have to worry about that. So you almost look too ugly. Well, you can sit down sometimes, anything you want. You can like have them, see this? See how the microphone's to my level? Does that work? No. Okay. Anyways, it's great. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing it. Yeah, so check those out. Have you guys seen Star vs. the Forces of Evil? One girl.
I've heard of it!
I've heard of it! I know what a star is! Yeah, if you get on Disney Channel, a little Cartoon Network, you'll hear my voice every now and then. It's pretty great.
Other questions here. Okay. Oh, right in front of me, yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
What's up, John? My name is Dante, Luna. And I love movies. They're a big part of my life.
Thank you.
So I always want to tell you this story, and it's a big question. In high school, I was on a date, and movies is something that means a lot to me. So I went on a date, and I made a big deal about it. And we went to this small independent theater, it's quiet. And I picked Napoleon Dynamite. And it was a small time movie, like no one heard of it. I've never even heard the name. I just saw it. I'm just like, Napoleon Dynamite, and he's like, quiet, let's go. 20 minutes in the movie, I was in love with it. The girl I was with said, Dante, we gotta go. Dante, we gotta see that movie. I'm just like, relax, good, chill, we're gonna watch this movie. 20 minutes later, she's like, Dante, I'm leaving.
Is this a first date, by the way?
It was the first date with her, yeah. It was the last date with her.
I don't know the end of the story.
No! She's like, Dante, I'm leaving. I said, you can leave, I'm staying. She gets up, gets her bag, and walks out the theater, and I stayed in the theater on the date by myself, and I finished the movie. And then a couple months later, Napoleon Dynamite takes off, and then she's in love with it. She's posting about it. I'm like, whoa, wait.
Whoa, so then did you call back for a second date or something?
Nah, man, I checked out.
Well, I guess it kind of has a happy ending.
I love the movie so much. I thought it was genius, and it was like, I was literally in the theater with like 6 other people, and I was just like, no.
That makes me feel better.
It didn't have a commercial, it wasn't on the internet, I didn't hear anything about it, I just picked it. But then it caught on, it caught fire. So I guess my question to you is like, there really was a period of time where nobody knew about the film, but it was done and complete and out there. You know, so what was the journey like from, you know, really like, you know, being a part of this, knowing you had something, but then getting it before it hit the limelight or hit that wave?
I've been talking about this recently. It's a very good story. I'm glad that you helped to my end of it. I've been thinking about it a lot recently because even more so in the climate we're in today with like Hollywood and films and internet and really Netflix and so much, it's so easy to have access to like so many films. And a lot of people have talked about, is this the death of cult film? Because Napoleon's kind of considered one of the last true kind of cult films that ever hit like theaters and was able to have that kind of experience because you couldn't, I mean, you really think about it, I think it'd be very hard to do Napoleon nowadays. If we had shot it now, then it would, either they would have said, well, just, you know, put it to some festivals, maybe try to get it online, put it on YouTube for a little bit, and some people might have seen it and liked it. Hopefully, the same people. I don't know, maybe it could have gathered the same kind of steam, but I think it definitely got us even bigger recognition with a lot of people out there. I mean, in my journeys in Hollywood, I've come across huge names that know about the film. I don't think they would have known about it if it was made today. And it was really something cool and special, and the timing was right. We were lucky. Fox Searchlight buys it at Sundance in January 2004. And it was that summer. They decided to release it. And like you said, nobody knew it was. Nobody knew any of the actors. They put it in like 6 theaters, a couple in LA, a couple in New York. But they were very smart about their marketing. And they got out there and they created a website. This is before Twitter and really Facebook. I think there was MySpace. They might have had a few links on MySpace, but they had a website and people came to it, and I don't know if any of you were there for the original when it came out in theaters, besides you, but they threw out, they put up free screenings across the country to try to hey, come back and come and bring your friends each time, and they would give out little grab bags of props from the film so that people could throw some. They tried to make it what's it called? Rocky Horror. Yeah, they really tried to give it. This was a studio, a big-time studio, trying to create a cult film, which that normally doesn't happen. But Fox Searchlight, which is kind of a smaller version of Big Fox, they were smart and they knew what they're doing. And then that's when they added. It was a year later that we shot the wedding scene that's at the end, because they wanted to give something more to the fans. And again, try to build that word of mouth. And it was really cool to be part of something that, nobody had heard of it in June 2004, and it was in theaters till about December 2004. All that way, just constantly, and by that time it was everybody knew it, and people loved it. And so kind of that whirlwind of almost 4 months was crazy. It was awesome to be a part of that. I think that ends it.
Other questions. Let's see what we got here.
I'm glad she ended up liking it. It's the one thing I get from so many people that they tell me hey man, I love your movie. I hated it the first, second time, and I'm just it blows my mind. Why would you give a movie a second chance that you did not like? I mean, we have so little time on this earth. We've got to cherish those moments and watch something else. And yet, I have so many fans who have, all right, I'll watch it again. And then they end up loving it. So that's what I tell people now. Or if I see a crappy movie, I just leave it alone. I don't give it a shot. Sorry.
Hello. I know I'm not the only one, that after seeing either Napoleon Dynamite or Transformers, goes to school and then hears everybody making all these quotes, obviously you got the obvious ones, Tina, you could do it better than I can. But do you have any?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I did. But do you have any favorite quotes from any movie that you've done?
I don't know. I think what is it? Oh yeah, I love the in Napoleon. I mean, that's kind of the most quotable, but I love when he's I was hold on a second. I forgot to put in the crystals. That's a pretty good one. Or say so the whole world can hear. Yeah, and who would have thought that Tina, you fat lard was actually the #1 quoted line? That became, it was so specific. I mean, most of the time people quote things because they can relate to so many situations. Gosh, flippin' idiot. Yeah, you can say that, but you gotta know a Tina, she's gotta be fat, and she's gotta be time for dinner. Tina, you fat lard, get some dinner. Food! Freaking animals. I hate working with animals.
They're okay sometimes.
Other questions. Let's see. Let's go back here.
That was not acting. Dealing with that llama, I was just like, it was mean. That was improv, just me throwing the food. They're like, you're supposed to feed the llama. I'm like, no, get away from me. It's not fair. And I honestly did that, and they're all laughing, like, all right, we'll keep that. I was like, good, because I'm done with her. I'm done with Dolly. That was the name of the actual llama. Get it? Dolly Llama. But that's true, that was her name. It's funny, but she's dead now. Yeah, when people ask me how she's doing. And, Jared's brothers, the director, his brothers were always pissed off because they had to drink the milk from the llama growing up, and they're like, it tastes like hay.
Hi, this is my first panel at Con ever, so I'm glad it's
I'm so sorry. They're all going to suck in comparison now. You're going to go to the American Pie reunion, and they're like, so sad. And, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe not kidding.
So I have a quick question and then like a more in-depth question. So the quick question is, please tell me you've seen the epigraph battle with Napoleon versus Napoleon.
Oh yeah, I saw
it. Just checking.
I had some 12-year-olds show me that.
Well, I feel really great about it.
I'm going to show that. And they're sitting there, but they're like hitting repeat on YouTube. Oh, this is great. And I'm like, yeah, no, it's funny. It's good. But they were just.
Okay, I needed to know that you'd seen it. Some weird part of me. And then my second question is, Blaze of Glory is like the first movie I ever saw multiple times in a theater.
Yeah.
My best friend and I when we hang out like 6 days a week, and we watch that movie over the summer. We watched it like less than 10 times.
Exercise, kids. Exercise.
Thanks. It looks like it was a really fun movie to make, but it also looks like it was like physically like grueling. I've seen some of like the behind the scenes footage, so you guys looked like you were generally enjoying yourselves, but like, was there anything about it that was like physically just like really uncomfortable or like too much?
Yeah, I broke my ankle. Yeah. No, I loved making Blaze. It was so much fun. It was a very different experience going from Napoleon and doing a couple films in between, but then this was really like a big studio film. You had Will Ferrell, you had all these big names, and it was just like, and it was the first movie where I had to play a character who was actually good at something, and like Olympian level good. So yeah, there was a lot of training involved, and right when we started training for the skating, I broke my ankle doing it. And so we were like, oh shoot, that kind of screws things up. So I was actually, there was a short period where I thought I was going to be booted from the film because they got to move forward. They were awesome. Everybody worked around their schedules, so we shot all the non-skating stuff first, waited a few, and during all that time I just healed. And actually, a lot of the non-skating stuff, I'm wearing a cast, you just can't see. And then we took a little time off until I was fully healed, and then I trained some more. We started training for all the skating stuff, and then we got back on the ice and shot all the skating. So it was kind of split up over a year of shooting, but I'm so glad it worked out. But yeah, I loved ice skating. I couldn't get enough of it. It was like my favorite thing. It was hard work. It was very different, like I said, but anytime we were shooting stuff, I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. I started learning waltz jumps. I could do backward crossovers. Yeah. And Will could like stand without falling down. We had a thing, Will kind of, the power, he was the Clydesdale with the comedy, and I was, he was the show pony with the comedy, and I was a Clydesdale, kind of lifting him up comedy-wise. In the skating, I was a show pony doing all the kind of cool stuff, and he was the Clydesdale. I don't know if that's a good analogy. Anyways, but yeah, no, we had a great time because it was just so fun, kind of, just doing the weird, awkward stuff. Doing that first fire and ice routine, like we had the time of our lives, because that was supposed to be the moment where we also are starting to get along and we're doing well, but it also is the first real skating we kind of did in the film. And there's obviously some special effects involved and some stunt work and wire work, but also some real skating involved. I just remember the very first day I met Will Ferrell at all, because he wasn't signed on originally. It was Ben Stiller who was originally going to play that role, because it was his company who made it. And due to scheduling stuff, and I honestly think he was scared of the ice, but I don't know all the reasons why. I think because of scheduling, mostly, he couldn't do it. So he's like, and I was super bummed, and he told me, he was like, don't worry, we'll get someone good. My mind, I had already read the script with him in mind and everything. And he's like, yeah, I think we'll get Will Ferrell. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Fine, I'll do the movie. It was hard to picture Will doing all those amazing stunts, but it's movie magic, and we got Will, and yeah, no, we had the time of our lives. It was amazing.
Great.
Yeah, it's such breaking ankle. It really hurts.
Right.
Hi. So going off that last question, Blade Floor is probably my favorite movie of yours, and you and Will Ferrell were just like perfect together as the two characters, and you were so dynamic together. Were there any like really crazy moments, like working with him? He seems like a pretty hysterical guy altogether. I just can't imagine. Do you have any like stories where he was just working with him was just too hilarious, or moments where it was like, just with the script in general, that you was just like, this is tough?
To lead into that answer, I realized I started that story without finishing it. The first day I met Will, so like I said, he had only signed on like at the last second. So the first day I met him was the first day of training on the ice. And so I met him literally on the ice, and we both had this look in our eyes, like, I mean, of course I was excited, but there was that kind of look like, hey man, can't believe we're getting into this. This is going to be crazy, because I think there's a lot of fear in Will's. It was very humbling, and also it leveled the playing ground a little bit, because I was super intimidated and like, oh my gosh, this is Will Ferrell, and like I watched him growing up, and this is crazy. But knowing that he was going to have as tough, if not tougher of a time learning to ice skate, made me feel a little bit better. But yeah, he was incredible to work with. He was just extremely down to earth and like a gentle guy, and he was like, I always kind of felt like I was the Lucas and he was the Charlie Sheen character, from Lucas, and he was like the cool high school senior, like, who took me in and was like, hey man, so like introduced me to everybody, and it was great. And there was, for sure, when we would work, he'd always have like some like kind of backup lines for each line. There's always like, okay, here's a joke in the script, but he would kind of rattle off different versions and different alternate takes. And yeah, sometimes it was pretty hard, because just looking at his face, you laugh. But when you are in character and you're in wardrobe, you're trying to do your best, and yeah, it was pretty great.
I was going to ask, you've played so many hilarious characters over the years, and they're all really just completely three-dimensional and totally realized. And with that, I know sometimes a lot of improv happens on set, especially when you're working with
Already answered that. Anyways, no, just kidding.
I know a lot of improv
I'm kidding.
Okay. I know a lot of improv happens a lot with working with other comedians, and I wanted to know, what's your favorite improv scene or line that has ever happened on the set of any movie?
Man, that's hard. It's hard to remember those, because you forget like what's on the script, and sometimes things just pop up. There was a scene. Well, there was. Let's see. I guess it's just. It really just makes me think of the scenes that made me laugh the hardest. It's hard for me to break character, or at least you hope, because when you are in character, you're focusing, and it's easy to not break character when you are focusing. You're in character. Okay, I got to do it. And when you're driving this scene, it's easy. But if you're in the scene and you're reactionary, like someone else is driving that scene, for example, Rex Kwon Do, that scene where we're there and Kip gets up and he's getting the crap beat out of him and stuff. I'm just sitting there watching. And so I'm like busting up. Like it was the hardest I've ever had to keep a straight face. And I'm sitting there like, and actually in the film, if you look, you can see in the mirrors, you can see me like, and I was like, I told the producer, I was like, I don't think you got a clean shot of me not laughing. Every single take, I would be like, and they just kept it in. They couldn't, like, it's hard to see. So that was a great scene. And there was a scene in School for Scoundrels, a movie. I don't know if people say, okay, one guy. Yeah. There's a really funny scene in there where David Cross, I have a scene with David Cross, and he's in Speedos, and he's about to jump into a swimming pool. It's this kind of serious conversation we have, and at the end of the conversation as a button, he puts on his goggles, but these goggles would make his eyes just go, and like something weird, and I lost it every time, and I felt so bad, so unprofessional, but every time I swear he got so much of my spit on his face because he would like put it on and go, and laugh. It was just, that was really hard. That was kind of random, just two of the hardest times I've ever had from trying to not laugh.
I actually have a question because you brought this up before. It sounds like you've been doing a bunch of different projects. You're doing a lot of voiceover work and stuff like that. You've been friggin' busy. Like, what stuff do you have coming out? Because you have some on iTunes, right? And
there's Ghost Team. That's out on iTunes now. It's like a comedy horror, really fun movie.
I love the way you say horror, by the way. Horror. I just love the way you say that.
Horror?
I love the way you say that.
I know, but it doesn't sound like it's a horror film.
Say it again. Say it again.
Horror.
Now you're saying it right. That's no fun.
Now everybody's gonna think. So it's a comedy horror film, and there's that. There's Tiger Hunter, which is actually kind of doing a festival circuit right now, but should be coming out in theaters or some format next year. That's like an all-Indian cast, but I play the one white guy. It's pretty sweet. And Pickle and Peanut, you got to check out. That's awesome. I think that's it for now. I'm in talks. Yeah, there's always like some independent films I'm somewhat involved with. Hopefully.
Go. Got a question right here.
Hi. Okay, so it's kind of about your life in that movie, but I'm a twin, so like I want to know, do you and your brother have any weird like twin things?
Like, what is he thinking right now? Yeah. Gross. Yeah, weird things. Weird, huh? I mean, we used to like swap places when we were younger, and now we swap wives. It's no big deal. It's not like they know. No, gross. I don't know. We do, when we get talking, we don't fit. You probably notice I don't finish a lot of my sentences. I'm not very good. I'll start something. It's from years of talking to him because I didn't need to finish my sentences. I would start it and then it would end in his head. Or we finish each other's sentences, very kind of like shorthand kind of talking. But, yeah. Other things. We're very identical. We like all the same things. We love all the same things. Weird stuff. What was a weird thing? I don't know if there's anything weird except for that. I don't know. I can't think of it. We're twins. We're weird by nature, aren't we? We're freaks. We're not supposed to be here.
Okay, well, like one time she puked and I passed out at the exact same time.
When in different states?
We were in different rooms.
Why did that happen?
I was bit by a hamster and I was at my friend's party and I don't know why she threw up. I felt fine.
Well, that's
I
not
just
that
randomly
weird.
threw
Those
up.
aren't the same thing. She threw up, you passed out. And then you passed out in her vomit. That's weird.
And thank you yesterday because you let us take a picture and your manager, I don't think, or whoever you were with was like,
Yeah.
And you did
You're
anyway.
welcome. You're welcome. You guys are weird. That's the weird thing. You guys are
all
weird.
twins are weird. Y'all weird.
Yeah, all twins are weird by nature.
Let's see. Oh, gotta go
I'll have
bunny
to think
ears.
of some weird twin stuff. I'm sure there is.
All right, gotta go bunny ears here. Here we go.
Oh, I'm Evie. Well, first, my sister and I
Are you a kangaroo?
No, I'm Evie the Pokemon.
You're a Pokemon.
No. My name's Ashley.
Hey, wait just a second.
What? Really?
Boom! Oh, look at that. Ooh, prop comedy. That guy's a pro.
Well, first of all, my sister and I are both huge fans of you, Doug, and I know it's John's. We love him too. So my question is for both of you. I wanted to know. I haven't seen every video you've done, but I want to know if you've done a nostalgia critic of any of John's movies, and if he has, if you've seen them.
Wait, what? Doug, am I standing in greatness here? Ooh, now you put me on the spot.
I know, right?
I don't know squat he's done.
The answer to both is no.
Wait, Doug, are you a comedian actor?
Yeah, no, I got a show and shit.
Oh, so she knows it.
Yeah, no,
she
knows
loves
it.
You got a
Yeah,
fan here.
It's a good Pokemon again. Am I gonna? Yeah, I'm gonna say right here. I'm gonna review one of his movies and make fun of it. Yeah. No, I'm not doing that.
Oh, jeez, I should have done my homework.
Right.
Oh.
It's his panel. Superman.
No,
get back on
you
track.
answer any question that's given to you. Guys,
I
it is
just
now
said the
turned
answer.
into his panel.
He clearly doesn't know who I am. I only found out seconds
No,
ago.
no, you're that guy who plays the...
You're half right.
No, you're the yellow robot on Star Trek, right?
Yes.
Brent Spiner is here.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's Brent Spiner.
Those aren't contacts either.
Brent Spiner with a goatee.
Hey, John, thanks for being here. Quick question. How do you transition from stereotypical comedies to more serious films such as Walk Before Mickey?
How do I transition? I mean, it's just more of a natural thing that hopefully happens. I mean, there's going to be projects that still come along that are, it's not really ever a full transition. It's just, yeah, here's a comedy. I always try to do more, I'm interested in doing more drama stuff, dramatic projects, and sometimes they come my way, and then I'll do them, but then there's comedies that come along, and so it's just kind of like, I like to do both, and whatever comes along that is interesting to me, and that could be comedy or drama. But yeah, sometimes it's just auditioning, sometimes it's meeting with the directors, sometimes it's directors coming to you and say, hey, I think you're right for this. So yeah.
Other questions? What do we got here? All right. How about you though?
Okay, so I know in Napoleon Dynamite there's that big dancing scene. Did you have a set routine, or were you just improvising?
Oh, that was improvising. Freestyle. It was freestyle. Freestyle. Shoot.
Get on the table.
I don't know, like, yeah, you just have to like feel, oh, that is the worst beat. I don't know what I'm doing with that chair. Okay, that's it. Now, I had to be normally alone. When I shot that scene, it was like doing a love scene in a movie. I kicked everybody out. I was like, you guys, this is a closed set. It was like, ooh, is there a steamy love scene? They're like, no, John's getting steamy and sweaty, but I don't think there's any love. Yeah, I kicked everybody out, and there's a lot of pissed off crew. But I was like, sorry, you guys. I need to focus. I need to do this. It was hard, but fun. But I was puking my guts out after every take.
Yeah, and then she passed out.
Yeah, there we go. He's like, why am I covered in sweat suddenly? Oh, one of my groin muscles ache. Because there's a lot of groin stretching, like, yeah. Ooh.
All right, got a question back here.
Well, first of all, I want to say loved your movie. When it came out, I just connected with it. And secondly, earlier in this panel, you said that you were surprised to find out that a lot of big names had heard about your movie, Napoleon Dynamite. I was just wondering who some of those, as you said, big names were.
Well, I mean, like, I remember when that movie came out, there was, I mean, when it first came out, I kind of met a lot of people at the MTV Movie Awards. It was Tom Cruise presented the award, and after, like, behind the curtains, it was him and Dakota Fanning had been in War of the Worlds. And they said, oh, they used to quote that movie all the time on set. And then there was the time when freaking James Cameron recognized me and said, oh, me and my family are friends. I mean, little moments like that. No big deal, whatever. It's just James Cameron, only the maker of the most successful movie of all time. Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, this feels like a name-dropping session, but let's just say some pretty cool people. Brad Pitt. Who else? There's a lot of people. There were some weird, obsessed people right at the very beginning. Faye Dunaway. Daryl Hannah, weird. Like, she was, like, trying to find my number. It was weird. Who else in the very beginning, early stages of Insanity? Those are some of the names that pop up. I remember. Ellen Barkin was kind of like, yeah, she was hardcore. A lot of older actresses is weird. Anyways, yeah.
Other questions. What we got here? I already did one. Maybe let's do another one.
Hi. So, Napoleon Dynamite's one of those movies that you can sit down and watch over and over and over again. Just, I got to a point where I was watching it like every single day, and I can sit down and.
You're talking.
still,
This is like a. Yeah, like a
An AA meeting?
It's a support group. I used to watch it every day. I had to stop.
I did have to stop, but I got to a point where I could sit down, watch it, and be able to do it verbatim, every single line for the whole movie. Do you have a movie like that, or did you have a movie like that where you can sit down and watch it and just recite it verbatim?
1989 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Woo! Right here, buddy.
Wise
right
man
there.
says forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. I gotta get a new route, and I thought I worked everywhere. I could quote that whole movie, man. And Big Lebowski, right there. Wait, was that the last one? Is that the high five?
Oh, no.
Oh,
What,
you
was
just
that
love
si-
Ninja
Was that a
Turtles.
signal we had? What?
I thought that was like a goodbye five.
What?
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's Ninja Turtles. I high-five Ninja Turtles.
Oh, okay,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
you're right.
Give me
That's
three.
high-fiveable.
Okay.
Yeah, 3. Cowabunga.
All right. I think we got at least one or two more here. Let's see. Yes, you.
Just a question about your Napoleon Dynamite character. Do you find that you've had fans who maybe have either autism or another developmental disability who tell you that either they relate or absolutely don't relate to that character?
I get a lot of people who come up either are related to someone with autism or actual autistic people who completely relate with Napoleon. And, you know, of course, when we made it, we didn't think about that at all. We were just like, we're creating a character in our mind. So if Napoleon was a real character, yeah, I think there's definitely something like maybe if he took a trip to the doctors, he might get diagnosed with something. But yeah, for sure, there's like, obviously there's something about Napoleon that, you know, a lot of people relate to for all different reasons. And that's one I've heard a lot. And I think it's great that when, I love it when people tell me, they bring their, these families come and they bring their son and they're like, hey, our son who's autistic, you know, he doesn't react a lot to this or that, but he watches Napoleon, he gets it. That's something he gets, and he loves it. And you know, I can't help but think that that's awesome. I mean, it's great. And so it's, I don't know. I mean, it kind of gives you almost, makes you look at the film a little bit differently in some ways. Like every single time I hear from a fan or someone who tells me stories like that, it's like this, movies in general, it's the beauty of movies, they speak to different people in different ways. Some people it's just, oh, it's a stoner comedy and you can sit back and you just light one up with your buddies and watch it. And then some people it speaks volumes and helps them to get through hard times. I've had so many wonderful people come up to me like I was going through a really hard time, a dark time in my life, and this movie helped me get through it. And again, it's just, it's wonderful to hear on our side that, like, wow, that's awesome. Again, we had no idea. We were there to entertain ourselves, but it's so many added bonuses when you hear great stuff like that, and that you were there bringing happiness to people. It's awesome.
One last question, I think, here. Okay, you're screaming. I'll get it. Hold on. Oh, you do look like Napoleon a little bit.
I wasn't sure if that was real, but now I'm very sure.
In high school, I had a huge fro, and
Yep, actually.
kids wouldn't let me down, and that movie really helped me out.
Yeah, basically. I just came in too, so sorry if someone already asked this, but do you speak Japanese?
I do speak Japanese.
Fluently?
Hi, sonotori desu.
Interesting.
Konnichiwa? Is that all you know? それだけ知ってるの?
Ask another one,
Nihongo hanashimasu. Yai.
What's Nick
You guys
Swartzen
can't
like?
confirm that, can you? I could be just speaking Korean for all I know. Or nothing. But I am.
What's Nick Swartzen like on Blades of Glory when you worked with him?
He's very invasive. No, I already talked about him a little bit. He was great. He was one of my favorite people to work with. We still hang out every now and then, and he's one of the guys I've worked with who I truly find really funny, and I just laugh at everything he says and does. He's awesome.
Awesome. Guys, that's all we got. He's going to go back to his
Thank you,
booth.
guys.
Go.
Thank you so much for coming.
Say hi. He's a great guy.
Thank you for not leaving early, and you're beautiful.